G'day guys, it's Max. I'm here with my brother Ben, film guy for the day. We just installed a Oasis waterfall kit that you can find on our website. We've added some additional plants and some rocks to cover those plants in the back for the customer's request. And if you want to keep watching the video, you can see how we put it all together. So there is a small gap on this side. Once the two rocks meet up, it's not going to be an issue. Over here you got like a 1.5 to 2 inch gap. So we're gonna, it can look lower, maybe not, but we're gonna look where it's touching the coping, and then it touches quite a bit. So we're gonna pull that up, and basically here to here was touching the pool wall, where it starts to curve away from it right here. So we're gonna even that with the curve. Again, don't go too far, otherwise probably right here it'll start to look bad when looking at the front of the waterfall or rock. And sometimes your blade doesn't go straight, so you just gotta clean the foam up behind the hard coat. Let's try. Clean that up later. Try not to dump it in the pool too much. There you go. So this one's a little different. I don't usually have to pull back on all of my rocks, but because I am, I'm just going to pull back to where I want it later, and then we're going to mark that. But I gotta make sure I keep pulling it back. This is a pretty cool mechanical fat lead pencil, so they're on Amazon. Put the link below. Okay, make sure everything's just in the right place. Always double check. Might move this way. Don't use paint because it won't come off the concrete. This one I got to pull back too. over, just get it behind the rock that you're working on. This forward. Get it upside down. And that's what the lines should look like on the concrete. You can always draw them in darker if that helps. So these are just treated 2x4s. Get a whole 8-foot stick or longer at Home Depot, and then cut them. I usually cut them into 8-inch blocks. I don't know why that size so far. It just seems to work. Any smaller, it's just a good size. So it seems to fit in a lot of places, whereas any longer may not stretch. So on the small rocks, I usually do 2. We're just putting them in there, and then I'll measure them where they actually go. Big guy can have 4 to 5. So make sure your block's on. Step on both feet. Wow, this thing's cold now. So just for these bolts, you know, get it around the top, and then you don't have to go all the way up. Just like that. Make sure the washer's on there. We're just gonna line up your holes. And that's it. Tighten it, and then we'll get our impact hammer later, or wrench. Just so you know, these expand in the concrete, and that's what's holding it once you tighten it. So for the tops of these bolts, the nuts, I use a 9/16. Just buy like an impact bit like that, and then you put the socket on there. And there you go with the impact drill. Make zigzags, so you know once the thing's there, the rock's on, you know where to put your screws and where not to put them. So you'll see that later. Make it nice and dark so you're not guessing later. On this one, we've got our plumbing happened to be inside of our edge rock. The customer was wanting to put the waterfall on this curve, but as we say, it usually doesn't look as well. So we moved it on over to the concave curve, and then I'm just gonna run the plumbing Give me 1 sec. We're just gonna run this 1-inch line. Gonna elbow off however it works once I figure that out, and go from 2-inch to 1-inch. That'll go in there. Maybe I'll cut it a little lower, and this will just snake right through and go up into our cave. Whenever gluing, just make sure you're within these lines. You don't want to ruin if it's yours or a customer's overlay or any sort of concrete. These cleaner and the glue is going to stain everything, so might as well just do it within where you're covering. So we're doing a 2-inch elbow to a 2-inch by 1-inch reducer bushing. And then clean the pipe. Oh, big deal. Whenever there's flex pipe, don't use purple primer, because it will eat the pipe and make it leak. So always use just some sort of cleaner, PVC cleaner. Get it real clean. Doesn't have to be spotless. Do these two guys together first. Always push in and hold for about 5-10 seconds, otherwise the fitting will push out. And the other end. Now, because of this curved pipe, it doesn't help with the angle. Angle is a dangle. Just sort of prep which way your hose is going to go, so you're not fighting it later. Like that, this should curve nicely down like that, and as long as it's flush with the ground at our edge, we should be fine. Getting this off. Inside of there. Always give it a quarter turn so you pop any of the air bubbles. And that should work now. I'm gonna clean this. This is a 1.5 to 1 inch, which is what we want. And our fitting that we put in these waterfalls is a 1.5 slip. Clean that out. Get your glue. This is actually flex glue, which works both for rigid and the best thing for flex. Put it in and twist it. A little hard to twist, but make sure you hold it or it'll pop out. Also, don't put too much glue because it'll come out the top, and then now you have a white stain on the top. So we're gonna make what we need. The waterfall's about this high, so given you've got this coil that guy's annoying you can pull on it and give it back, which will give enough room while you're inside and moving this waterfall back and forth. Also, this is flexible pipe, which does not crack when it's freezing. So even though there'll be a bit of water trapped in this loop when it's cold time, this flexible pipe doesn't crack, so we're safe. here. That over there. Keep your coil so it's easy to move later. Clean both. Glue both. And twist. We can get it in. And sort of just think about how it's gonna glue in once it's sitting correctly. So I want this pipe butted up to this wood right here, and we're gonna mark right there. It's about 1 inch tall. It's only a 1 inch pipe, so little extra's fine. Make sure you clean that foam out of the way, because you may think you cut it correctly, but the foam's right there in the way. Okay. There we go. And then our silicone or M1 can cover all that, and the colors. So we've got our lines, as you recall before. So I'm just going to take some 4-inch screws. Always be mindful of where the pipe is inside of there. You never want to go through it or come back this way into your pipe, because you'll be cursing all day after that. We're just going to do 3 screws in every block. So with our rock that's been flexing on me a little bit, I'm going to take this 3/16 bit, which worked on these nice blue Tapcon screws, and then we're just going to secure this to the concrete. That way these screws back here, when I put them in, it doesn't shoot everything forward, and it likes to do that a lot. So. We're going to take some 3-inch screws. Again, be mindful about plumbing. Don't be dumb and go through it, as I've done before. So I'm gonna pull it up because it's too difficult to do it where it was. I'm just gonna take it back out. You can get one of these that'll help you if you had to do it like it was, or it's super far away. This, I'm gonna start the screw. We're gonna put 2 of these. So this plant is full of all these metal strands, and that's basically all running down the center of this. So you gotta sort of go to the side of it where the meat of the plastic is, otherwise you run through the metal. So we'll go here. So we sell these 2 rocks. I think it's the DIY Fill Rock 1 and number 2. I call them flexi rocks because they're very flexible. Usually a bit more than that. This one not so much, but it still works. And we just want to cover this ugly part of the plant, and even that plumbing down there. And also if you look down here, there's a lot of light, so when you're in the swimming pool they'll see the sun coming through, which makes it, breaks the vision. So we can play with either rock. That looks pretty good, but might use that one there, or that doesn't quite do the whole job, so I prefer this one. Now, to play it safe, I'm going to use smaller screws. No need for the big ones. I'll do a 2-inch right here. So seal right here, and then I'll keep going. Color that, because when it's hot outside it's going to cure pretty quick to the point where the color won't work very well. Any excess you can dab on the screws that you got. We're just going to try to match what's around it, around the end one. You're always going to get dirt in the pool. It's just dirt, it's not going to hurt anything. So that hole there, and the screw. You never want to put M1 back on color because it won't stick very well. This one does. this waterfall kit. I really hope this guide can help you get through it and see how straightforward it can really be. If you'd like to see anything else, please let us know in the comments below and what you think about this video.